Hey guys, Trey Bell here with Bell Real Estate Group, and want to take some time to dive into a local marketplace. We serve 5 counties. So we serve Hall County, Gwinnett County, Forsyth County, Jackson County, and Barrow County. Now we do sell outside of those areas too, but those are the primary counties that we sell real estate in. They're some of the most dense and heavily populated areas too, so that just makes sense. Our office is actually located in Brazelton, which is at the corner of like 4 of those counties. But I've lived and worked and played in this area forever. I'm fourth generation actually in Hall County, and so I'm very familiar with this county. And so last week I did a video on Gwinnett County, and this week I want to break down Hall County and just go through some very high level statistics about what's going on in the housing market in our area, and what that means for you. And so let's just jump right in here. We're going to start out with homes for sale in the month of January. And so what you'll see is that in the month of January, homes for sale is actually up 12%, and it was up 63% last year. So combined, that's almost 80% or 75% up since 2024. So what does that mean? It just means that people have more options. Some of this is new construction. Some of this is people getting off the fence. But really one of the main objections we hear in our business, and we do a lot of contingent sales, which means I need to sell this house to go and buy the next house. So what we hear with people that have something to sell that want to move is that, man, I would love to do it, but there's nowhere to go, right? And so building of inventory is actually a good thing. We're going to talk about the months that we're at. It's actually 4.2, and we really want to see that get to 5 to 6 months of inventory so people have more options and there's more homes on for sale. Anything under 6 is either balanced market or a seller's market still, meaning seller's market would mean that homes are appreciating maybe at a little faster rate. In 21, 22, we went down to less than 1 month supply of inventory, and that's why you saw 10 to 12% appreciation year over year, which is really unsustainable. It's not good for the marketplace at all. Last year, we were kind of just flat. We were at less than 1% in the metro Atlanta area appreciation. And if you're a seller, that may not feel as good. And even if you're seeing homes decrease in price, it's not because the market is pulling back, it's because the rate of appreciation has changed. And some agents, some sellers want to price high and let people bring them an offer. And really, we found that pricing at market is just a better strategy where a seller gets more out of their house in a short amount of time. So anyway, inventory is rising. I think that's good news for sellers, and I think that's good news for people looking to buy and purchase too. So in January, we actually saw a decline in new listings come to the market. So the last slide was total listings. This is new listings. And that could be seasonal. You know, we had a snow event. We'll really look at this number quarterly to see how we're pacing. But over 2024, you know, we're still 25% more homes listing in January than they did in 2024. And I think that's a great stat. And that's a trend that we all want to see. Pending sales. So a pending sale is a home that's that gets put under contract. And just so you know how that works, we go and we list a home. So let's say that we meet today and we decide that we want to work together, and we can get your home on the market typically within a week, maybe sooner than that. And then we put your home on the market, and the average days on market, that's probably in this slide, it's somewhere in the 40s to 50s, depending on what area you're in. And then once your home goes under a contract, that's called a pending. Typically that takes 30 to 45 days to get to a closing where you actually sell the property. So that's a pending sale. Pending sales are up just a little bit, 2% over last year. They're actually down a little bit from 2024. Again, weather, just all kind of things play into real estate. If it's rainy, people don't show houses as much when it's rainy outside. So all of those things play into it. I think that this is a good number. It's up over last year, which I see is a good thing. This stat is kind of shocking to me. Showings per listing. So the showings per listing are actually down. So on average, 2.6 showings per listing. And so what that means, I think this is a stat for two different reasons. Number one, I think people are overpricing their homes. I think that that's just happening across the board. And the difference in selling a house today and selling a house 25 years ago is that there are houses everywhere you look. Zillow, primary place where people search. And so if you're competing with houses in your neighborhood or in your school district or in wherever you're at on the lakefront where you're at, buyers are judging your listing on a computer screen or on their phone before they're even willing to see it. And so if your price per square foot and you're overpriced just for what the house is, there's a good chance that people just aren't going to see your house. And so, we've seen a lot of expired listings. We've seen that tick up, and it's all a pricing thing. The other thing I think is driving this is that there's a little less demand today than there was maybe last year and the year before, and that's an affordability thing, and we know that that is improving. But there's probably fewer buyers going to see houses, but the people that are seeing it are more motivated. They're highly qualified. There's not a lot of people just kicking tires. So I think that's the two things that are driving that statistic. The next slide I want to talk about is the median sales price. So we're actually down 1.2% over last year, which was up 10%. And so I think this is just a statistic for this month, right? I mean, this is the whole gamut of houses, median, right? So if you go from 1 to 100, whatever the 50% range is, that is the median. And so there could have been fewer $1 million home sale in the month of January, or, we don't know what pulls these numbers up. So again, we'll look at this over a quarter to really get a better snapshot of what's happening in the marketplace. But we know that Metro Atlanta all of last year, 0.5% appreciation was the average. And so we know that it's closer to flat, but it's not flat. It's just a little bit above being flat. And all the predictions are this year that number is going to move closer to 3%. And 3 to 4% is the historical average and trend line for home value appreciation. Closed sales. So pending sales were down, but closed sales were actually up. So what this means is that December was a busier month in 2025 than December in 24 and 23, right? So more buyers engaging in the marketplace, doing deals, more people starting to buy, and that probably has to do with rates, the slow trickle down. As of this week, this is the last week of February. Yesterday, my news feed and social was blowing up with lenders and agents saying you can now get a rate with a 5 in front of it, right? In reality, you can actually get a rate a lot cheaper than that. Our lender told us this week, or one of our lenders told us this week, that they just helped someone get a rate with a 4. Now, how you do that, there's multiple different ways, and we help our clients do that either through seller pay closing costs or a certain offer that the lender has. There's a lot of different ways. If you buy new construction, they've got really good rate deals right now. But all of those things impact the amount of houses that are selling. So we're seeing the velocity of home selling pick up. I think that's a good thing and a positive outlook for 2026. Price per square foot is down. This kind of goes back to the median thing again, right? We just don't know the sample size, what homes were included, but they're staying pretty flat just the last few years, cost per square foot. Days on market, so is it 38 in the month of January 2026? In 25, it was 44. So we've seen the median days on market actually decrease. So that's a good thing if you're a seller. That means that there's more demand. Homes are moving a little faster. Historically, in real estate, days on market has been somewhere between 45 and 60. So if you were to put your house on the market in years past, pre-COVID, you may be on the market for 30, 40, 50 days before you get a contract and you move to closing. So at 38 days, we're still under historical norms. Basically, you're selling your home in a month. If it's priced right, if it's staged right, if it's positioned right, if it's been well maintained, all of those things matter right now. But I think that's a phenomenal number. And I think it's trending in the right direction, which means that there's more demand. And then month of supply, I talked about this briefly at the beginning. supply is ticking up. And what this number means is that if not another home was put on the market today, it would take 4 months for all of the homes to be sold based on the current demand in the marketplace in the county of in Hall County. So we want to see this number go up. We really want to see it get close to 5 and really stay somewhere between 5 and 6. That's our target. And that means that, hey, there's plenty of homes to shop for out there, and homes are still appreciating. They're not losing value because there's too many homes on the market. You do hear in the news that we're in a buyer's market right now. That may be the sentiment, but that's not supply and demand. Supply and demand still tells us that we're in a seller's market. And so the number of sellers are outnumbering the number of buyers right now. That's a news article that I've seen over and over again. And what that means to me is that buyers aren't engaged in shopping. It doesn't mean that there's too many homes on the marketplace. And again, I think it all goes back to affordability, what people are able to afford. As gas prices get cheaper, the cost of food at the grocery store gets cheaper. I know health insurance in Georgia and property insurance in Georgia has been a big deal, a big jump this year. But as things get cheaper, there will be more demand. And I hope that we're moving in that direction. It seems like more month over month or quarter over quarter, we're seeing that inflation slow down a little bit out there in the economy. So that's my update for Hall County in January 2026. I'm encouraged by this. I think that it's really good news. All the predictions for this year is that there's going to be about 10 to 15% more homes sell this year than sold last year. And again, real estate is local. So your county may be different than the county beside you, or your state may be different than the state beside you. They also say that being in the South is a more positive migration to the South right now than maybe out West or to the Northeast. And so I think that's a benefit too if you're selling a home in Northeast Georgia. And then I think being 40 miles from Atlanta, which a lot of these counties we serve are, and in the North Metro part of Atlanta, I think that's a very desirable place to be. Hall County has Lake Lanier. They've got great school systems. The city of Gainesville is actually pretty cool now. A lot of people are moving to it. And so I just think that there's a lot of great things to offer the county has. I live in Hall County. I love living here. This is a great place to live, a great place to raise a family. And if you're looking to move to Hall County, or you're looking to sell in Hall County in the future, we would love the opportunity to interview for that job as we know about the county and we're local experts. So if we can help you in any way, please let us know and like and subscribe for more information coming to you.